As night falls, New York's most prestigious fine dining restaurant, a dazzling banquet, glows with resplendent lights. Celebrities and elites gather. A massive crystal chandelier casts sparkling rays, illuminating every impeccably dressed guest. At 65, Grandma Ruth stands at the restaurant's entrance, starkly out of place in the opulent surroundings. She wears a slightly faded old sweater, paired with a black coarse cloth skirt and outdated leather shoes. Time has etched deep wrinkles on her face, and her back is slightly hunched, yet her eyes shine with a simple, resolute strength. Clutching a restaurant invitation from her son, who wanted her to experience this luxurious life, Grandma Ruth feels both nervous and curious. It's her first time in such an upscale place. Taking a deep breath, she musters the courage to step inside. The moment she enters, curious stares from around the room hit her like spotlights, leaving her uneasy. The restaurant's patrons, men in sharp suits, women in glamorous evening gowns adorned with expensive jewelry, whisper among themselves, their conversations revolving around business deals or overseas travels. A few fashionable, wealthy women pause abruptly as they pass by Grandma Ruth, their eyes scanning her up and down. They huddle together, whispering in low voices. "Look at that old lady, dressed like that and coming to a place like this? She must have wandered into the wrong spot," says a woman wearing oversized ruby earrings, her eyes filled with disdain. "Probably here on someone else's dime. No way she'd spend her own money," chimes in another woman with big wavy curls, a mocking smile on her lips. She raises her voice slightly, as if intending for Grandma Ruth to overhear. Hearing these words, Grandma Ruth feels a pang in her heart, but she straightens her back, thinking to herself, "My son worked hard to bring me here. I'm here rightfully." She clutches her worn bag tightly, which holds a scarf she knitted for her son and some homemade local snacks, tokens of her boundless love for him. Led by a waiter, Grandma Ruth reaches her reserved seat. As she sits, a wealthy businessman at the next table frowns and says to the waiter, "What's going on here? Why would you seat someone like her next to me? It ruins the ambiance." The waiter, visibly embarrassed, explains that the seat was pre-booked. Grandma Ruth feels a sharp sting in her heart, but lowers her head silently, ignoring the harsh words. At that moment, a young, kind waitress approaches with a smile. "Grandma, what would you like to order? We have the freshest seafood and top-grade steaks." Grandma Ruth glances at the menu nervously, stunned by the exorbitant prices. Stammering, she says, "Miss, I don't quite understand these. Could you recommend something?" The waitress patiently suggests some signature dishes and thoughtfully asks if she has any dietary restrictions. Grandma Ruth nods gratefully, saying, "Thank you, miss. I appreciate your help." Soon the dishes arrive. Grandma Ruth stares at the exquisite cutlery and artfully plated food, feeling overwhelmed. The wealthy woman at the next table notices and raises her voice. "That's not how you use a fork and knife. Old lady, be careful not to break these fancy utensils. They're not cheap to replace." Grandma Ruth's face flushes red. She smiles awkwardly and murmurs, "Thank you for the reminder. I'll be careful." But as she picks up the cutlery, her hands, accustomed to farm tools, fumble. While cutting her steak, it slips and falls onto the pristine tablecloth, leaving an oil stain. The wealthy woman gasps dramatically. "Oh, what a shame. Such fine steak wasted, and the tablecloth's ruined." Curious glances come from all directions, and some even chuckle softly. Grandma Ruth hurriedly grabs a napkin, frantically wiping. The stain as tears well up in her eyes. Just then, the kind waitress reappears. She gently holds Grandma Ruth's hand and says, "It's okay, Grandma. I'll take care of it." She quickly cleans the table, replaces the cutlery, and patiently shows Grandma Ruth how to use the fork and knife. Grandma Ruth looks at her with gratitude, her eyes brimming with emotion. Halfway through the meal, Grandma Ruth's phone suddenly rings from her bag. The familiar ringtone sounds jarringly loud in the quiet restaurant. The businessman at the next table frowns in irritation, while the wealthy woman rolls her eyes and shifts away, as if afraid of being tainted by Grandma Ruth's presence. Grandma Ruth fumbles to retrieve her phone and sees it's a call from her grandson. A smile spreads across her face. She answers, and her grandson's young voice comes through. "Grandma, is it fun eating at the fancy restaurant? Is the food really tasty?" Forcing herself to sound calm, Grandma Ruth laughs. "It's fun. So much fun. Sweetie, the food here is delicious, and Grandma's having a great time." In truth, tears are forming in her eyes. The grievances she's endured threaten to overwhelm her, but she keeps her voice cheerful, sharing little anecdotes about the restaurant with her grandson. After hanging up, she sighs softly and wipes the tears from her eyes. The wealthy woman witnessing this sneers, "Putting on quite a show, as if someone like her could enjoy a place like this." Grandma Ruth ignores her, her gaze drifting to the restaurant's entrance. At that moment, the doors swing open, and a commotion ensues. A group of black-suited bodyguards escorts a distinguished middle-aged man inside. Tall and imposing, his stern face carries the authority of someone long accustomed to power. He strides forward, his eyes urgently scanning the crowd. When he spots Grandma Ruth in the corner, his gaze softens with tenderness and concern. He rushes to her side, kneels down, and takes her hand, saying softly, "Mom, you've suffered. Your son is late." Hearing his voice, Grandma Ruth lifts her tear-streaked face. Seeing her son, all her grievances burst forth. She throws herself into his arms, sobbing, "Son, you're finally here." Her son David gently pats her back, comforting her, a flicker of suppressed anger in his eyes. He stands and surveys the room, his piercing gaze sweeping over those who mocked his mother. They shrink back, faces pale with fear. The ruby-earringed, wealthy woman, emboldened by her status, shrills, "Who are you, acting like some big shot? Do you even know what kind of place this is?" Her sharp voice shatters the restaurant's calm. Before David can respond, skeptical murmurs arise. "What kind of important person could he be? Probably just stirring trouble," says a tall man, frowning. "Exactly. The president of this restaurant couldn't be some random guy like him," adds a slightly chubby woman. As the crowd buzzes, the restaurant manager hurries over. Standing respectfully beside David, he announces loudly, "Everyone please, this is Mr. David, the president of our restaurant. He built this culinary empire from nothing." The room falls silent. All eyes turn to David in shock. The once arrogant, wealthy woman's smile freezes, her mouth agape, speechless. The wavy-haired woman turns pale, her hands gripping the chair's armrest tightly. How could her son be the president? The ruby-earringed woman mutters, still in disbelief. David ignores them, gently helping his mother up. He tells the waiter, "Bring out all the best dishes. Today I'm dining with my mother." Turning to her, he says, "Mom, no one will ever bully you again. You can live however you want." Leaning on her son, Grandma Ruth's grievances fade, replaced by overwhelming happiness. Those who mocked her grow restless. The ruby-earringed woman stands first, approaching Grandma Ruth with shame. Stammering, she says, "Auntie, I'm so sorry. I was blind and said things I shouldn't have. Please don't take it to heart." The wavy-haired woman follows, forcing a smile. Yes, Auntie, we didn't mean it. You raised such an amazing son. We're so jealous." Grandma Ruth looks at them, her heart a mix of emotions. She says softly, "I'm just an old lady, and don't want to hold grudges. I only hope you'll stop judging people by their appearance." David sits with his mother, carefully cutting her steak and placing it on her plate. Grandma Ruth gazes at her son, her heart swelling with memories of past hardships, how much she sacrificed to raise him. Now with her son's success, every effort feels worthwhile. During the meal, David introduces each dish's specialties and shares amusing stories from his entrepreneurial journey, making Grandma Ruth laugh heartily. Those who once mocked her sit awkwardly, occasionally casting conciliatory glances. After the meal, David prepares to leave with his mother. The businessman who mocked her approaches, holding an elegant gift box. Smiling broadly, he says, "Mr. David, a small token. Please, accept it as my apology." David doesn't glance at the box, saying coolly, "I appreciate the gesture, but keep it. I only hope you'll learn to respect everyone, no matter their appearance or status." With that, he leads his mother out, under the awestruck gazes of the crowd. In the car, Grandma Ruth looks out at New York's vibrant nightscape, filled with emotion. She says to her son, "Son, I faced some grievances today, but it showed me the warmth and coldness of human nature. As long as I have you, I fear nothing." David grips her hand tightly, saying, "Mom, I'll make sure you're happy every day and never face another grievance." As the car drives into the distance, Grandma Ruth knows a new chapter in her life is beginning. The hardships and grievances of the past have become her most precious treasures.